Right, this is part 2 of the 2v2 on Provence. And just to recap part 1, Candy had, the light infantry superiority, so he definitely pushed back a lot of the British lights. And his cavalry was getting kind of messed up, so I sent in 2 Chasseurs Cheval and looked at one of the British cavalry units route. And Candy's flanking position on his left against his opponent's right definitely paid off. And the British opponent, I believe he begins to realize that the battle is pretty much lost, and so he charges in. And as you can see here, Candy forms some squares, and that's very good as well. When a unit is charging one of your lines and you form a square, there's a better chance of you winning that melee engagement. And so as you can see here, the Ottoman units charge my elite infantry, and it's pretty much an act of desperation, I guess. So I guess they both realize the battle's lost, maybe, you know. But as you can see here, my elite infantry gain pretty much the advantage. These guys are gonna rout, and I mean, like I said, I'm gonna roll down here. So he charges in. My opponent charges in his cavalry, and I tried to form stakes quickly, but that didn't work out. My Garde Corps, I tried to retire them behind the stakes, which did not form, so that was bad. But I have, some infantry and cavalry support coming up, so that's gonna finish them off. And so, Kenny's opponent's cavalry, these lifeguards that have a cavalry, they pretty much win the cavalry fight. Alright, so I completely win the engagement here on my left against my opponent's right, and I wasn't really micromanaging this Spelky's regiment, so these guys are gonna get shot by these lights for a while. But I mean, he charged in a melee engagement, and most of my units are obviously gonna win that. So going back here, my Guard Corps, they stand against the superior Ottoman cavalry, but when I bring up my line, that's going to finish them off. So I'm going to try to recap the whole battle and tactics right now, as best as I can. So Candy had the long rifleman superiority. He took out the British lights. Then he brought the rest of his United States units on, and he strengthened his left flank and made an attack on his opponent's right. And his cavalry engaged his opponent's cavalry, and my cavalry came in to help him out. But his opponent's cavalry was a bit too strong, but they went out, because he formed square against that. And eventually, when Candy was firing superior volleys against his opponent charged, and he also formed a square to delay those charges and to win the melee engagement in that sense. And as you can see here, he's pretty much mopping up the rest of his opponent's army. Alright, so here what happened was I strengthened my left flank. I put a lot of my men on the left, and I And when it was a stalemate, I didn't want to walk into his volleys. He didn't want to walk into my volleys. So I sent one unit of cavalry to make a suicide attack. They soaked up a lot of the Ottoman volleys, and that allowed the rest of my army to move up here on my left against my opponent's right, and pretty much smash them. You know, get the first volleys. I pretty much rolled down here, and yeah, that's about it. You know.